I'm going to be demonstrating acrylic paint pouring today. This is a technique that has newly become really popular again, especially on social media, but it was first used by a man named Diego Alfaro Squieres in the 1930s. He was an artist who was commissioned to make wall frescoes and murals. And if you don't know, frescoes are wet wall paintings that you're supposed to finish before the wall is done drying. They're pretty difficult, but he was the first man to do the fluid painting. So basically what acrylic pouring is liquefying paint and then adding it into layers into a cup to be poured onto a canvas or poured onto a surface like furniture, a table, that you're looking to cover with something pretty. Depending on the color choices that you pick or the type of paint or resin that you use, what amount and what type of paint thinner you add, there's pretty much endless results that you can end up with. So I'll first be talking about preparing the paint and the surface, and then I'll be talking about application techniques. So according to the William Kemp Art School, you should start your paintings all the time with a toned ground. So I'll be using a canvas that's stretched, that I already painted black, and it's dry now. Make sure it's dry. According to my blueprint, it increases the speed at which the paint can move around on the surface, so you have kind of a long time to decide how you want your final result to look. Fluidartproject.com says that you shouldn't apply paint on an untreated canvas, which would be a canvas that was still completely white. And if you do that, it's going to absorb a lot of the first layer of paint that you put on it. So for you to put your final image on top of an untouched canvas would not give you as good of a result as you could get. Acrylicgeisen.com says to always protect your workspace. So I'm using some plastic paper bags, from the store. And now I'm gonna move on to application techniques. So there's a lot of different techniques you can use. According to acrylicpouring.com, you can do a dirty pour or a clean pour, a string pull, which kind of makes you end up with flower designs, a tree ring, a balloon pop, or a resin pour, which is when you see some side tables that kind of look like a slate of agate. A lot of the times those are made with resin, and people will add glitter or some stuff, and it ends up looking pretty real. There's a lot more techniques than that though too. Depending on the temperature in your workspace and also the wind, it can affect how fast the paint dries or how fast it moves. Artprojects.com has a little explanation of why drip paintings end up with cells in them. So I have some examples of ones I've already done. Cells are the little bubbles that you see in here. And those are the separation of oil and water, or silicone in paint case and water. I personally like how they look though. This is another one that I've done. And justpaint.com says don't dam up the edges while you're pouring the paint on. So as you can see, I have this flat against the surface so that the paint can run off of it, but I really should have something under it kind of as a bumper to elevate it from the ground directly so that paint can keep running off of it from the sides, so that when I pull it up it's not sticking to anything and the edges don't get ruined. Dixie Belle Paint Company says to always make sure that you sand and apply your paint to a nice smooth surface so that there's no bumps or anything ruining your art. So now I'm going to demonstrate. I have some Dixie cups, 6 of them, and I've added blue, purple, green, and yellow. These are different shades of blue and green. And then I have a cup that I'm going to pour it all into. So I'm gonna do dark green first, and I'm squeezing the cup and then pouring it in so that I eliminate any air bubbles or anything. Then I'm gonna do blue, yellow, then green, blue again, and then purple. So keep in mind that the first color that you pour into the cup is going to be the last color that comes out, so it will most likely end up in the center. So now I have all this paint in a layer in my cup. I'm going to let it shrink down. It kind of looks like a flat rainbow. And then what I'm going to be doing is just a classic pour. So I'll move this back here so you can see a little better. And I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna start in the middle. Oh, that looks awesome. And then these last little drips are kind of gonna add some color. Some people don't add this last little splatter that comes out of the cup, but I like to. So now it's really just up to you on moving it around however you want. Kind of looks cool like this, to be honest, but I'm just gonna start by tilting the canvas. Most people recommend doing it in a circular motion. Looks awesome. And if you're afraid of painting, I would say that this is probably the best way to get over your fear, because it's pretty hard to mess up. So there's a little paint clump in here. I'm just gonna take that out. Another one. Just getting the edges. I kind of just dab my fingers along the side to cover any black that might be left over. The rest of it will kind of just flow. Then I'm going to go over to this last little corner. I have some black left. This also, I think, because I kind of live, I live next to the beach, and I think these patterns kind of tend to reflect the ocean a lot, which I like. It looks really good in bathrooms. I have my room covered in painting, so I'm gonna add this on my wall. And there's the final result. So don't be afraid to try this. It is fun and it's really easy. I'm just gonna let this dry here. I hope you give it a try. Thank you.